What's up, everybody? So, tonight I finally show my face again to prove that I am actually still alive. And I thought that I would do this right now at nighttime since it's a little peaceful and I have gotten a little bit more rest and I feel like I can actually function as a human being. So I thought that I would catch you guys up with what's been happening behind the scenes while I have been away for the past 4 or 5 days. So I don't know if I got around to telling you guys that I set up an appointment to go to Toyota, and this appointment is for my car's airbag because apparently there's been like defective airbags or something. And it's something that some 2 years ago I had gone over to them and asked them, hey, I keep getting this letter at home about some settlement that you guys did about Takata airbags. Does this affect my vehicle? And they swore to God that they didn't, like it doesn't affect my vehicle. And then it turns out that 2 years later, this could have been taken care of 2 years ago, but now I have to do it now so that, I can be somewhat safer if I get in a car wreck. But anyway, so tomorrow I'm doing that, and the repair is supposed to take anywhere between 2 to 3 hours. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll prepare myself for that. It's not like I have any other plans to be getting around. So I'll be able to just handle it and take as much entertainment as I can with me so that I can patiently just wait there and at least and being taken care of as soon as I get there. But anyways, then on top of that, as you can probably hear, I apparently caught something or I started to get sick. I don't even know what to call it. And these past 2 days and a half have been god awful. Like, I have had a terrible headache. Like, the worst headache that I have experienced in my life happened to me yesterday from the moment that I was awake until I went to bed and probably early in the morning this morning. And I'm pretty sure that my body is just fighting off the flu or something, like trying to keep it from taking. Has been talking about how they have the flu, or they have someone who has the flu, or they're getting flu medicine for so and so, or for themselves, or they're getting honey, or they're getting the elderberry syrup, or they're getting some other crazy syrup, whatever it is that people use these days as remedy, or the Mucinex, or whatever it is that people just use, the NyQuil and Dayquil and Tranquil and everything. So I'm like, fantastic. It's not like the winter affected me, but I had not heard so many people reporting that they were not feeling well. So I'm like, it's just a matter of time before I have some symptoms, but I am pretty sure I'm not going to succumb to it. But anyways, so the symptoms that I got were that terrible headache. It was so terrible that I was carrying upstairs like a 35 pound bag of something. And 35 pounds is not that heavy. Like, it is not really that challenging for me. But for me to take that mug upstairs, it was actually a challenge. It was actually like I was having a hard time catching my breath. And on top of that, I'm like, wow, my headache is so bad that I'm actually grunting by it. And additionally, anytime that I would like tilt my head or bend down, it was excruciating. It felt like my head was expanding, just ready to explode. So I said, you know what, as much as I can, I am going to avoid anything that's bright. I'm going to avoid my phone. I'm going to avoid just anything. Music. I didn't even go to the gym yesterday. I never skip the gym. If I skip the gym, it's because something major is going on. And I'm glad that I did because I hear that it was particularly noisy yesterday. And I'm like, sure, I can anticipate that. It's Monday. Everyone goes back to the gym on Monday to pretend to work out whatever it is that they consumed in the during the weekend. So I should probably just stay home and rest and chill, but at the same time, I was trying to beat myself over it because on Sunday I skipped the gym And also, I'm like, I was off on Sunday. Why can I not function like I normally can? But anyways, and then I was coughing a couple of times. Nothing really major, but it sounded like it was coming from my chest, and I'm like, oh hell no. But anyways, and on top of that, my waist has been hurting, my lower back has been hurting, my knees have been hurting, my joints have been hurting, my hand has been hurting. Basically, I feel like the most grotesque, disgusting, non-functioning human, and I'm like, there is just no way that I am like in any condition to be doing anything remotely resembling social activity. So my shift yesterday, it was so painful. I was pretty much leaning on everything that I could to make it. Fortunately, it was a shorter shift, but it did not make it any less painful. And on top of shift, but it did not make it any less painful. And on top of that, we had two people who were not available to cover their shifts. So basically, most of the volume, most of the load of stuff to do at work, it was resting upon me and two other people. And then the one person that we have who is floating around. So I'm like, that we have who is floating around. So I'm like, fantastic. I'm glad that I did not call out because otherwise my little work fam would have had a horrible time. And I strongly considered calling out because would have had a horrible time. And I strongly considered calling out because I'm like, this headache is just not normal. It reminds me of the symptoms of this thing that because I cannot go to the doctor, I never know. I never knew what it was, but it was this thing that practically made every single inch of my body be an absolute ache. I could not grip anything. I could not even twist a cap to open a gallon of water. Like that's how bad it was. Some of them you can lift. Well, even that was painful, but twisting a cap that was tight, it's like I was 80 years old in like in a young body, you know? So I was scared. I thought that I would never recover from that one. But anyways, but I'm feeling a whole lot better now. I still have a little bit of a headache, but of course this stupid ponytail is not making the matter better, but at least it's nothing like yesterday. Yesterday it's like thinking was painful. I know that sounds ridiculous, but anything that required brain work, I just could not do. I'm like, please don't expose me to that. So that kind of kept me away because, again, I didn't want to be exposing myself to like anything that could possibly make it worse. So that's kind of why I took the time off to be away from like online and everything. I might have replied to maybe one comment that I was like, let me see what's happening on the channel, and I just could not wait. So I gave one reply, but after that, it's like I black. What else should I tell you guys? Oh, yeah. Thursday, my mother's gonna go on a trip, and it is to help my brother move in. So, or move in. So that should be taking place sometime next week. We're looking at maybe Wednesday. They'll be on their way back. So on Thursday morning, the girl is going to be getting up like at 4 a.m. to be on my way to an airport that's about 2 hours away from me, and then drop mom off. And her flight is at 8. So I'm like, fantastic. I need to be leaving the home by 4:50. That's my plan. But when I think about it, I'm like, I think she needs to be at the airport at least 2 hours ahead. I remember one time we were trying to fly and we were only like an hour at the airport, an hour before our flight, and we couldn't go because you have to give yourself all that extra time to go through security and whatnot. And I'm like, the line is like dead. This is the last flight leaving this airport. You're just being a bitch. So we pretty much had to wait some 10 hours at the terminal to catch the next flight. But it didn't bother me because I was sick with this thing that I just got through describing. So So I'm like, I feel like this was a blessing in disguise. Maybe I was meant to rest before I did that trip. But anyways, um yeah, I don't take anything for any of my symptoms, and I know that that's not helping anything, but I try to let my body battle by itself as much as it can. And I feel like maybe that's the reason I just don't get sick these days. A lot of people just immediately start taking medicine and going to the doctor and all that crazy stuff. And I'm like, if I can help it, I'm just not going to mess with medicine. So I feel like because my body has been naturally fighting off everything, maybe that's why my immune system just does not fuck around. But yeah, and other than that, my other pains, I feel like it's just also associated with a possible malnourishment. Because let me tell you, for the past 3 days, I have not felt like messing with the kitchen. The only thing I did was yesterday in the morning, I cooked half a pound of salmon, and I was like, this is going to be my source of protein. And after I consume this, I'm done. So I had that before my shift, and then during my shift, I ate a little something. And then when I came back home, I snacked on whatever crap I had lying around. And after that, I just could not function anymore. And I said, you know what? Forget the gym. But yeah, now today I had a significantly better day when it comes to eating, but it's just difficult. It's like I did not want to be on my feet anymore. I just needed to just rest and catch up on being a functioning human. Like it was just awful. But anyways, at the same time, I'm proud of my body because I can tell that it's been fighting something and it is not giving up. It's like this has not gotten any worse, and I'm pretty sure because it's my defenses are pretty decent. But usually in the past, something like this would have knocked me out already. But I've still, I have still been able to do everything, just at a much slower rate. But anyways, it's cool to get sick too. But anyway, that's a long drive to the airport. Yeah, cause unfortunately, going to this particular airport saves like $300-ish on a plane ticket, and I don't know about you, but that's fucking worth it. Whereas if we go through the regional one that's like 20 minutes away, no, no, no. And then the other choice would have been to drive to the capital of one of the neighboring states. And I said, bitch, I'm not about to do a 5 hour drive just to drop my mom off at the airport. And I'm pretty sure that she's not interested to do that to catch a flight that's going to be like an hour long. So basically, our drive there would have been longer than her actual trip. It's kind of ridiculous. So no, not negotiable. I love mom, but like no, no. I might as well have driven her all the way to where she's going, which is some 13 hours away, pushing it. So yeah, no, no. Glad you're on. Thanks so much. It's good to be back. I was missing you guys because I love doing this. This is a part of my routine. This just helps with my days. It helps make it better. But then I'm like, oh my god, I miss the channel so much. I miss streaming so much. So I was trying to at least lurk in the comment section, and I'm like, sure, I'll go online and get something rolling. But anytime I would try to initiate a topic and be like, okay, let me talk about the news that I just heard, I'm like, I just cannot focus. I just cannot think. Trying to imagine myself sitting here running the show like I typically do, it just sounded like a terrible idea. It sounded so challenging and demanding, and I think it was just a headache. It's like it made everything about my day seem worse than it really was. I just felt like a disgusting human. And I'm like, I'm a sad cookie. I just cannot do anything. I can handle my job only because it's easy and I can do it on autopilot. Like, some things I don't even need to look in the direction of the thing that I'm doing to be able to do it. It's like with one hand I can be doing one thing, with another hand I can be typing, and then maybe with my knee I can start to like push my bags or something to have it accessible for me while I push, the stuff down the belt or something. But it's crazy. I like having experience in one place because I can get away with running on autopilot, but at the same time, I feel like a fraudulent person. And I was keeping conversations as brief as possible. And on top of that, of course, Mondays tend to be a busy day. So the level of noise was going to increase. So what I did was I just focused, tried to tune everything out. And fortunately, nothing explosive took place to where that noise would have been overwhelming. But it's just incredible for me. I like to experience my routine under different circumstances and conditions, because you just don't know what your senses are doing for you. Like your hearing, your vision, your muscles when you're standing, you have no idea how many muscles you're using at any given time until one of them is fucking sore. So I'm like, I like this. I'm not saying I like being sick. It's just that I love to see how it is exactly that everything in the body is connected. And I find that fascinating. Even if I feel miserable, if I feel like I'm dying, it's like, this is fascinating. So I'm not saying disease come and get me, but but I'm just saying that after a long time not being feeling this sick, it's different. But anyways, let's see. What else can I tell you guys about? Let's see. I skipped the gym. I already told you about that. And oh yeah, my car turned on its little maintenance required light. So hopefully that'll help us find out what the initial problem was with a, what can I say, having the maintenance people looking into it a little more closely. So, yep, that is another appointment that I have to set up, and I better hurry with that because April, at the end of April, is when all my tags and stuff, like the taxes on it, is due. So I need to renew that stupid sticker. But it's all right. I got a plan for that. I got a plan, but I also need to make the time because now the schedule is going to be particularly crazy. But I can always, since my brother is going to be around, I can always put him in charge of that. Like, hey man, you ain't doing nothing for now. So at least, help me take care of this, drop me off at my job, and while I'm, you know, earning the bread, you can have this thing fixed for me so I can pay what it is that I have to pay. And it's just one day out of the year that I'm asking for help. So usually I take care of my car and I take care of mom's car. So it's like, yeah, I gotta come up with a plan for it. But it's okay. Even without him, I would be able to make it. It's just that if I have the convenience, I am going to use it because I got other stuff going on as well. Um, and then apparently the thing that my car was making noise about, the guy at Toyota didn't seem concerned. He was like, immediately the main suspect is some kind of a cap that he was thinking about that may generate that noise. And I'm like, are you sure it's a cap and just a cap? Because there was this grinding, squeaky sound. Well, it wasn't grinding or rattling or anything, but it was just a sharp noise that definitely sounded like something majorly wrong was taking place. But my brakes were not like functioning differently, but it just sounded worse than it really was, I guess. But anyways, I took his word for it. I trust him. But anyways, I'll mention it whenever I go to the maintenance required, what is it, yearly maintenance thing that takes place every so many miles. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it on my end. Nothing really exciting or outstanding except that I got sick. But, it's nothing really remarkable going on. Just, I've been a little out of it, and I just did not want to be here being more zombified than I typically am. I know that would have been odd. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Funny, I thought you were an only child. Oh, bruh. I am the only girl of four brothers. One is a full brother, which is the one who's coming over, and two of them are half brothers, and one of my half brothers I have never met. And to give you a hint, I am younger than him, and my brother is older than him. So, in other words, he is the middle child between my full brother and myself. And remember that I am younger than this unknown brother of mine. Girl, if you were here, I would fix your car while you watch TV. Oh my god, seriously? Where are you at? Nah, just kidding. Please do not reveal personal information on the internet. It may be used against you. you know, when it comes to technical stuff, I just have a major learning disability, but I genuinely like cars. So I would like to know how they work in the same manner that I love planes. Therefore, I would like to know how they work. I sort of know the very, 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 very basics of it how to fly one. But if you were to quiz me like on the spot, I would like struggle. But if I were to be looking at a panel, I'm like, okay, you gotta have your flight plan, you gotta plot this, you gotta calculate this and that, and fuel and the weight and which runway and what speed you gotta take off at, your V1, your how to turn on the plane, all that stuff. It's like I have the basics there. I have the pieces. I just need the exact numbers to have in mind based on what situation. But when it comes to a car, when it comes to like the parts of it and the mechanical aspect of it, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's like a completely different world for me. It is intimidating. No amount of anybody telling me, okay, I'm going to go under the hood, and under the hood, this is all that's happening. I look at a car under the hood and it's like, okay, that's the engine. It's pretty much the heart of the car. But outside of that, it's like there's all these other pipes, and I'm like, this is like a body. These are the veins and all that good stuff. But it's like so many different details. It's like one of it is oil, one of it is water and soap, another thing is a freaking just oil liquid of some sort that does something, and some of it gets hot, some of it gets cold. There's this liquid that cools shit down, and there's this thing that has a cap, and this thing that says do not touch because you'll get electrocuted. To me, I assume that any part of the hood is gonna make me blow up, so I just never tried touching it. And then the filter. Where the fuck is the filter? I keep hearing that I gotta change my oil and filter, and I'm like, sure. What does the filter even look like? I know what the air conditioner filter looks like, but in a car, I just see all of that load of whatevers, and I am left to assume that it must be like in the undercarriage or something, because I legitimately have not seen anything that remotely resembles a filter anywhere in my car. Then again, I am not trying too hard to shove my face into that section of the car. So all I like to do is just wash it. And I'm pretty sure that the way I wash it is definitely mediocre, but it ends up shiny and I don't see any extra scratches on it. So I cannot be that terrible at it. But it's like, man, I just wish I knew detail on how to deal with a car. even if it's the very basics. But besides refueling, washing it in my own style, vacuuming it, and safely driving it, I don't know anything. Like I probably should not even own one if I don't even know how to take care of it. But that's why there are places that you can go take the car to someone who knows. But at the same time, it sucks because you gotta spend all that extra money that could have been saved, and you get charged an obnoxious amount when what you gotta do to it is actually pretty simple. But anyways, you gotta pay for that labor, I guess. My mom wanted to be a flight attendant when she was a young girl, but back then you had to be taller than she was. Interesting. I remember when things just started changing everywhere all around, to where physically it seems like the bar was set a little lower because there were some standards that people simply could not meet when it comes to physically. God, I wish I could name some examples, but I'm like out of it right now. But I feel like we have definitely come a long way when it comes to the expectations that we have. But then when you think about it, I guess the aviation industry just boomed so much that you just needed a major workforce. So to be implementing something like that would seriously limit your ability to keep up with the demand. See what I mean? But anyways, let's see, what else can I tell you about? Oh yeah, and something else that I just thought about is that the follow up appointment that I was supposed to go to after my first appointment that I told you guys that I went to, I ended up skipping that mug because the last one that I went to that I shared here, it turned out to be outrageous. So yeah, I am not doing that until my situation somehow becomes better. And I know that it's important. Like one of my colleagues was telling me that I need to have my priorities checked, and I'm like, motherfucker, how can you say that to me? It's not a lack of me wanting to go. You gotta plan for this. So basically, I think he thinks that I'm the kind of girl who has like other things that I consider more important, like to be wasting my money on. And I'm like, no, I wish that you would see the many ways that I try to go around making money. Like, I have at least three things that I am trying to turn into something that can make money for me even while I'm sleeping. So like I am trying my damn best, especially for someone who's by herself doing all of this stuff. Fortunately, I have you guys to sit here and chill out with, and even some of you guys support me one way or another, directly. So I'm very grateful for that. But like for someone who's like pretty much not having any guidance outside of being online, I'm I'm proud of myself. I'm doing super. But it just bothers me cuz I don't like to be treated like I'm being irresponsible. It's like, no, you got to understand. This stuff is something that affects not just me but many people in my circle. I cannot just mindlessly be getting into debts and businesses that I don't have a plan for. The whole reason I did not go to college is so that I did not rack up tens of thousands of dollars in student debt that I had no plan on how to pay off. So when it comes to my health, I know my health is not negotiable. There shouldn't be a time limit on that. But let's face it, I don't want to put my family through a burden that they cannot handle. So stuff is already pretty tough as it is. And so I'm doing my very best to keep myself in the best shape that I can, but some stuff I just cannot help. So I am trying to go at the pace that I can handle to avoid a huge financial burden. So, but anyways, I just shrugged it as, dismissed it as he doesn't know me. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and he doesn't even know the stuff that I go through to make my everyday possible. So, it bothered me because I'm like, I did not need to hear that. I did not need to hear that you think that I don't know what my priorities are. You don't know me. You don't know what my values are. You don't know anything about me like that, but you think that you know because you have your daughters and you have your other experiences and you're an older person. Like, I respect you, but you cannot go in or cannot be going around making assumptions of people like that. You don't know what my finances are like either. Like what other stuff is weighing me down. But anyways, I looked at it as, you know what, he's just concerned, and that's his way of saying that he's concerned. But I'm like, just be concerned, but do not make comments that when you don't know anything. Like I cannot go around talking about, let me pick on one of you guys. I cannot be here talking about like, Steve, you're terrible at fixing cars because you've actually never, what can I say, owned a dealership to where you have multiple models or something. What do I know about you and your experience when it comes to dealing with cars? Maybe you have much more experience than that. So, anyways, basically, it was just a blinded assumption. And I think that him being exposed to a lot of the stuff that we read about or hear about on social media, it's like, oh yeah, everyone's making bad decisions and therefore it's coming back to bite them. And I'm like, no, the reason I'm going through my challenges, a lot of it is self-inflicted and a lot of it is simply I am not in a position to where stuff is just available for me. Like resourcefulness is not something that I have ever lived with. I have always lived with very limited resources. So, but anyways, um what can I say? I'm not mad or anything. Like we're still cool and chilled. It's just that I did not need to hear that. That's it. Let's see. Just curious, other than a headache, what are your symptoms? Let's see. So, to name everything that I can think of that is wrong with me, my headache is just pretty much on the sides. It's like really bad on the sides. I'm having trouble staying hydrated because it feels like when I drink water, no amount of water is enough, but also the act of drinking water is difficult. I just feel full. I just feel like I cannot drink. It just feels difficult to drink anything. Period. Um, I don't feel weak necessarily, but I do feel like I could sleep for like a week. But I still get up and do things, and after I get up, I can find the power and energy to do things. But it's a it's a fatigue that I cannot really pinpoint a physical source of it. It's not like I'm fatigued because I was on my feet all day. It's nothing like that. It's just there. It's like soreness that's all over. And but anyways, and then another odd symptom that I notice is that every time my days are over, it's like it's become very common that I see spots of the crimson fluid when I go to the bathroom to do one of the basic necessities. And I'm like, well, that hurts. Like my side has been hurting again. And I feel like I have cramps, although I'm not in my days. And then when I was on my days, I did not have any cramps. So it's like, what the hell is going on? Sometimes I feel like thinking about food makes me have nausea, but I never vomit. I never not eat because of that. Sometimes I have too much appetite, sometimes I don't have any appetite. But if you ask me, that can be for any number of reasons. It could be stress, it could be emotional, it could be anything. So I'm not really concerned about it, for it's not abnormal. And then of course that thing on my head that I keep talking about, it doesn't really, it only hurts if I mess with it, of course, which I have done good about not messing with it ever since I mentioned that I would do my best to stay away from it. But it's like it's just so many things that I feel like if I sit here and enumerate everything that bothers me about my body, it's like, when are you fully well? You know, I have never been, ever since I stopped being a teenager, I have never not lived without pain a day in my life. So, but I think some of it is hormonal as well. So, the doctor, of course, she is crazy about trying to get me to use the drugs. And I'm like, until I know how this works, what the consequences are, or in fact a natural remedy, I'm not interested in dealing with your drug because your drug is going to create a dependency that I am trying to avoid at all costs. My body needs to be able to do something by itself. So, but anyways, that's, I guess that's the side of me that is stubborn because I used to be an aspiring medic, and on top of that, I come from a family of doctors, and my paternal grandfather was a healer, and he absolutely cured everybody without ever needing to like wear a white coat and opening people up and stitching them back together and saying, yeah, use this thing that has a powdery substance in it. No, he would go to his yard and grab whatever it is that he needed and make a tea out of it or make an ointment out of it or whatever the hell. So I'm like, that's how I want to be cured. If I have an ailment and it's something that is known to be cured by something herbal, just to name it something, that's the route that I am going to take. And I also just do not want to give my money to something that I know is a bigger business that meets the eye. I'm like, are you really concerned about saving my life? Probably not. So, how do I know that getting that type of treatment is really the right option for me? And I don't want to be kept alive depending on hospital visits or taking drugs. And everybody, absolutely everybody who uses any kind of medicine, I see them and I feel just horrible for them because they're just not alive. They don't seem to be functioning people. Like, there's this one guy who I know who recently started taking meds for his back pain and some other things. And he's been such a fucking zombie. I'm like, what happened to you? You used to be funny. You used to have energy. You used to have life. Now you have been gaining weight. You have been looking paler. And, they just don't look the same. I can see that they're pretty restless too. Like, um, under their eyes it looks dark, and I'm like, you're suffering a lot, I can tell. And I'm pretty sure that your symptoms are being alleviated by meds one way or another, but at the same time you're suffering the side effects that no one ever wants to discuss about taking medication. That's not what I want for me. If I'll be in excruciating pain and miserable and even die prematurely, you know what? We're not all gonna make it. Some people are going to die young, some people are going to die old, some people are going to die in a car wreck when they're not even meant to. Some people are going to be premature, some people, a lot of shit is going to happen. I want to just express myself with the decisions that I make. And the decision that I make is I will do what I can independently to make myself feel better with the little bit of knowledge that I know and whatever resources are available for me. But to become dependent on like pharma to be well and alive, I can't do it. Now, I'm not saying that I don't trust them with anything. Like, I think that there's folks out there who say that you should avoid like vaccines. I would never say that to anybody because I think the whole reason I'm still alive, just like pretty much everybody, is because we have taken our vaccines from an early age. And I think it's important to be exposed to those agents so that your body can identify it and be like, you know what, I can fight this off while my immune system is developing. Introduce me to this pathogen so that I can strengthen and whatnot. It's like with exercising. If you want to get bigger and stronger, you have to start gradually and lift and expose yourself to challenges so that you can build. So your immune system is the same way. Give it a very light dose of something it can handle so that it can develop and become better. So, all of this is connected. But now that I'm older, it's like, I just want to be better about the decisions that I make. And unfortunately, the thing that I need, which is the doctor in this country, it is a big responsibility. It is a financial burden for some people. And I am one of those people to whom this is a financial burden too. I cannot just mindlessly be going to crazy appointments and racking up thousands of dollars in debt when I don't have a plan on how to go about it. So I just want to be responsible and I don't want to become into a nightmare, and I also do not want to be alive like a zombie. So if there's no other way, this is the way it's going to be for me. Because to me, it's important to live my days as close to myself as possible and not emotionless like a lot of people who I know. Trust me. Like, everyone who uses medicine, their emotions, their mental state is messed up one way or another. And I don't want to be one of those people. And it's already proven that I don't respond well to certain medication. And my mother actually shared with me that she tried taking birth control ages ago, of course, when she was married to my dad. And she had side effect so bad that she actually had spots in her skin. So, uh, what if that mess is hereditary? I'm not trying to find out right now, especially when I'm in a condition where I cannot afford to be experimenting to see what works and what doesn't. So I can pretty much assume that the manner that it affected her, it's going to affect me because she keeps saying, you know what, the symptoms that you have, I had them. And I'm like, I believe it. I believe it because this feels like something that I'm condemned to because of heredity. Like it's recurred in the family. It happened to grandma too. So I have a big clue there. This was bound to happen no matter what. So it's not like it's like my fault that I'm living my life irresponsibly as a human. Like, no, this can happen to anybody. In the same manner that people who are perfectly healthy can end up with other kinds of cancers because of the environment. It's not that you individually are doing something wrong. You're just more prone to certain diseases than other people. You may be more sensitive to certain things than other people. And if your environment is not helping, then, it sucks. So for anyone who's doing well without any intervention, which I feel fortunate, but outside of that, it's like, no, I, if pharmacies and the doctor is a business, it's like I want to speak with my money. And the way that I'm speaking is sorry, I don't want to give it to you, even if it costs me my life. I don't agree with the way this is done and the way this alters my perception of how I live my life. It's all right. It's all right. I'm not going to be upset or hold this against anything or be like, why me or this and that. Some people are going to make it, some people are not going to make it. So it's all right. Like, I normally don't even think about it. I only think about it when I'm like, oh, why do I feel like shit? And, I wish I could feel better. There might be a way for me to feel better, but it's at the expense of something, either financially, emotionally, or the side effects of medicine. So I'm just picking my poison. Either way, you're going to lose one way or another. So I'm very aware that everyone has their end. So I'm just choosing my poison. Just just look at it that way. um Interesting. I'm with you on the pill thing. So hey Jordan. I'm so late. Sorry. You need a holistic doctor. What does holistic mean? I am not functioning right now. I guess you mean one that goes by like either more natural remedies or one that actually takes care of everything? Like one that I can just go to and one round they can diagnose me with everything. Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. God bless. So good to see you, Jordan, because I'm used to seeing you every time, so it's like I've had to be out for a little bit, but it's all right. Don't feel bad about being late. There's really nothing exciting going on. I'm just sort of recapping everything that's happened in the 4 or 5 days, whatever, that I was away. It feels like a long time, but it probably wasn't even that long. Long story short, I just have not been functioning very well as a human. And if you monitor my posts, I'm just talking about how I've been feeling kind of weird physically. I must have caught something, but anyways, it's all right. Well, guys, I think this is gonna be it for me. I'm starting to not make sense. I'm starting to like trip on my words. I'm kind of tired. My eyes are burning. It's time for me to like rest and get rid of this ponytail so that my blood flow can come back to being, normal, as opposed to my hair being higher than my grades ever were in school. No, just kidding. But yeah, it was a pleasure to be here. I feel a whole lot better now, and yeah, I'll let you guys know how life treated me. I'll try to be back tomorrow. I don't see why I cannot be here tomorrow, but anything can happen. So I don't want to commit. But yeah, I'll definitely come up with something. If not, show it later, like I always do. Take care. Have a blessed night, and very nice to see you, wonderful friend. Thanks for chatting. Yeah, thank you guys so much. You have no idea how much it means to